everyone, I'm Miss Bailey with the Knox County Public Library Tutor Team, and I am here today with a math video lesson covering kindergarten and first grade academic standards. Here are some of the academic standards that are covered today for kindergarten and first grade, specifically with numbers and skills. If you are interested in looking at any of the additional grade level specific academic skills, you can visit the IDOE website right here. Before we begin today's lesson, I just want to offer some notes to parents on how to modify or differentiate these video lessons to best benefit your learner. So the way that I have this organized is the purple dots represent the level of difficulty. So one purple dot is the lowest level of difficulty. These are suggestions for if your learner is needing some extra practice to work their way up to completing the lesson with ease. One of the things that I suggest is really practicing the number formation, just like handwriting. It's a really important prerequisite skill that students have much more of an easier time with their writing and math facts in general whenever they are able to form their letters correctly. And sometimes I even notice that students who are doing really well in math are struggling with this prerequisite skill. So this is a gap that can easily be filled with some practice on letter formation. Here are some suggestions for modifications that you can use with this video for learners who are completing the lesson with ease. So again, the purple dots represent the level of difficulty. So 2 purple dots are if your learner is doing pretty well with the videos, if they're a good fit for your learner. And the 3 purple dots are suggestions if your learner is ready to extend or have a little bit of an added challenge with the lesson video. No matter where your learner is at, friends, you are a mathematician. So here is what a mathematician might look and sound like. And we will talk about this throughout our video because it's really important that you think of yourself as a mathematician as you work on your math skills. So a mathematician always keeps their goal in mind. They use math tools, and we'll talk about some of those today. They stay organized, and using math tools is one way to stay organized. Good mathematicians make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but we have to try our best. So when we make those mistakes, we've got to try our best to fix them, and we can never give up on ourselves. Mathematicians need to have a good vocabulary, a strong vocabulary. So let's talk about some of the words that are going to be in a lot of our lesson today that you're going to need to make sure that you have a good understanding of, not just recognizing the word when it's said, but being able to explain it to someone in your own words. One of the words that we're going to talk about today is the word amount. And the amount is how many of something you have. So here are some examples to show amounts. When we're thinking of amounts, we also might be talking specifically about the whole amount or the word total. So the whole amount is also known as the total, and the total is the amount you have all together or the whole amount. And some other words that you might hear used to describe the total or whole amount is how many in all, or altogether, how much do you have? In math, we answer a lot of questions, and a lot of the questions can be asking the same question but just using a different wording. So here are some examples of questions that ask pretty much the same thing. What is the whole amount? How many do you have in all? How many do you have altogether? What is the total? So although those sentences and questions look different, they are asking the same thing. Okay, mathematicians, are you ready to apply some of that mathematician vocabulary that we just talked about? What is the whole amount? So looking at these blocks, this stack of blocks, what is the whole amount? Go ahead and pause and try this one out on your own. Let's check. The whole amount is 4 blocks. Let's try another one. How many do you have in all? So looking at these circles, how many are there in all? There are 5 circles in all. How many do you have altogether? So looking at these dots, how many dots are there all together? If you said there are 9 dots altogether, you are correct. What is the total? So looking at the domino, how many dots are there total? The total is 5 dots. Great job, friends. All right, mathematicians, remember that a lot of time in math, we have to answer a lot of questions. And sometimes the questions are just worded differently. So it's really important to understand that all of those questions that you just answered, they were worded in different ways, but they were asking the same type of question. Moving on to another mathematician vocabulary word, parts. Parts are really important here, especially when we're talking about a whole amount. As we were going through those questions, you might have thought, well, Miss Bailey, I see some blocks that are red and some blocks that are purple. So what am I supposed to do since there's 2 different colors? Well, that's where we start talking about parts. So the parts make up the whole amount. The questions that you just answered were asking about the whole amount, not just the parts of the amount. So let's talk a little bit about parts. What are the parts? So here, with this picture of the blocks, we have 3 purple blocks and 1 red block. Okay, those are the parts of this stack of blocks, and the whole amount is 4 blocks. What are the parts here? So with these circles, we have some red circles and some blue circles. We have 2 red circles and 3 blue circles. Altogether, there are 5 circles in all. Parts make up a whole amount. What are the parts here? Well, if we take these dots apart based on their color, there are 8 blue dots and there is 1 pink dot. Altogether, there are 9 dots. Looking at this domino, what are its parts? Okay, so looking at this domino, let's break it into parts by looking at the top of the domino. How many dots are at the top? There are 2. And at the bottom of the domino, there are 3 dots. The total is 5 dots. All right, mathematicians, remember when I was telling you about how good mathematicians use tools? So let's talk about some mathematician tools. Here is a tool called a number bond. And a number bond is a tool to organize the parts and the whole of a number. So remember, parts has more than one, where the whole, there's only one whole amount. Okay, so looking at these circles, the whole amount is 5. And then when we think about it in parts, we have 2 red dots and 3 blue. Those are the parts. So parts, we have more than one. There's only one whole. Thinking about number bonds, it's also important that you know that number bonds can look differently. So here are a bunch of number bonds that are showing the same whole amount and the same parts that make up the whole amount. Okay, so it's just important that you know that a number bond is a tool. and it's used to organize the parts and the whole of a number. It can look differently though. Another tool that we will use as mathematicians is a tool called a 10 frame, and 10 frames help mathematicians stay organized. So now that we have talked about some of the math vocabulary that good mathematicians use and some of the math tools that are important for mathematicians to use, let's review what a good mathematician looks like and sounds like. So you will notice now we have talked about some of these math tools. So there's that number bond where it says that good mathematicians use math tools, and we stay organized by using tools like 10 frames. So those should look familiar to you now. Okay, good mathematicians keep their goal in mind. Good mathematicians make mistakes, and good mathematicians try their best. And in trying your best, sometimes you make mistakes and you don't give up. You just keep going. One thing that you can do if you get frustrated when you're trying your best and you're still just not getting it, well, stop, take a break from that problem, and come back to it later. Good mathematicians do that too. All right, here's our goal for today. Today we are being number detectives so that we can investigate the parts that make up a whole number. Our goal will be achieved when we identify hidden parts in the whole amount. So we're going to be detectives and we're going to look for or investigate hidden parts in the whole amount. So remember that mathematician vocabulary and those tools that we just went over. We are ready for some practice problems. Okay, take a look at this 10 frame. You'll see that it has some circles in it. The parts are blank and blank. So while you're thinking as a detective and you're looking at the hidden parts, we have circles, but we have two different types of circles. There are some green circles and there are some blue circles. Could those be our parts? I'm thinking maybe they could. So while we have the whole amount is 9, what are the two hidden parts? Pause and try it out. Okay, let's check. The parts are 7 and 2 because we have 7 green circles and 2 blue circles. Okay, remember what we said about with parts, there's an S on the end of that, parts. There are 2 parts and there's only one whole. So our 2 parts are making up the whole amount. Let's look for some more hidden parts. The parts are what and what. So thinking about our goal, looking for those hidden parts, identifying those hidden parts in the whole amount, think about the different colors of circles you see. How many do you see of each color? We have 6 all together, or total circles. But what are the parts that are making up the 6 as a whole? Pause and try it out. Let's check. There are 5 blue circles and 1 red circle. So you are correct if you said that the parts are 5 and 1. The whole is 6, but the parts are 5 and 1. Let's look at this domino. What are the parts? There are 7 total dots on the domino. So altogether there are 7. The whole is 7. But what are the parts? Can you be a detective and investigate or look at the domino to find the hidden parts? Did you find 4 and 3? Okay, well if you look at the top of the domino, there are 4 dots on the top and there are 3 dots on the bottom. So those are the parts that are hidden in the whole amount. Okay, we're going to go on to some practice problems that involve that mathematician tool called a number bond. And so just remember that a number bond helps us organize the parts in the whole of a number. And it can look different ways, but here's an example of how a number bond can show the picture that you see of the blue and red circles. Let's practice. So looking at this number bond, what are the parts of the number bond? And remember, parts has more than one. So what do you see on the number bond that there are two of, making up the whole amount? And the whole amount is going to be bigger than the smaller parts that are making it up. The parts are 3 and 2. 3 and 2 go together to make the whole amount, which is 5. So let's look at it this way. If I have 3 and 2, those are my parts. When I put them together, I have the whole amount, which is the big amount, 5. Let's take a look at another number bond practice problem. What are the parts here? What are the smaller parts that are hidden to make up the whole amount? Pause and try it out. The parts are 3 and 1. Very good. 3 and 1 go together to make the whole amount of 4. You're doing great, mathematicians. Keep up the hard work. We're going to try one more practice problem. Okay, looking at the picture here of the bugs, okay, cute little bugs, we have a total or a whole amount of 6 bugs, but there are 2 different types of bugs. So what are the parts that are hidden in the whole amount? Think of it like this. How many ladybugs are there and how many bumblebees are there? Those are our parts. Pause and try it out. Good. There are 3 ladybugs and 3 bumblebees. So the parts are 3 and 3. So sometimes our 2 parts are made up of the same amount, but there's still 2 separate parts that are hidden in that whole amount. So total we have 6 bugs. The whole amount is 6 bugs. The hidden parts are 3 ladybugs and 3 bumblebees. Today we have been number detectives. And we were being number detectives so that we could investigate or look at the parts that make up a whole number. Our goal was going to be achieved, and we did it. Boom, baby. We achieved that goal by identifying hidden parts in the whole amount. Mathematicians, I can feel your math muscles. I hope you can because you worked them out hard today. All right, friends, I am so excited to see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you will tune in again. If you are looking for more Tutor Team videos, we have a YouTube channel that you can search with the link here, or you can just search KCPL Tutor Team, Knox County Public Library Tutor Team, and you will find past videos that have been made or other videos that you would like to watch again.